Good morning, guys. It's Psychic Medium Sarah Lemos, and you're watching Mystic Mornings. Let's get this rolling, shall we? Gonna throw it on Facebook. Let's get rolling. Rolling. Heading over to Medium Sarah Lemos. That is where I have my special group here on Facebook. I'm streaming live now here on YouTube channel, which you know I love, so make sure you subscribe. Here we go. Good morning, guys, and welcome to Mystic Mornings with myself, Psychic Medium Sarah Lemos. I am chatting to you guys all about the paranormal this morning. So welcome into Mystic Mornings. I'm going to talk a lot about the giveaway that we did last week. All you had to do was run over to this incredible company page, like them, and then share with me one thing that you did for another, an active moment of kindness, and you were entered to win these delicious caramels. You had to run over to the Chocolate Art Gallery. The Chocolate Art Gallery here on Facebook. You needed to like their page, do a random act of kindness, and you could have been entered to win. And I have all my people here that entered to win, which is awesome. So we'll be giving these away at the end. But guys, don't forget to share a little bit of love. Run over, like her page. Again, it's the Chocolate Art Gallery page. I want to tell you guys about these caramels really quick. So I love caramel. Always have. I grew up with caramels. My mom was huge on caramels. That was her treat, was caramels. I will tell you, when you open these caramels, it is a clear rip. None of the package is in the caramel. And it's funny because if you're a caramel lover, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I hate black licorice. Hate it. I absolutely do not understand why people eat it. I will tell you, I tried her. I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it. She sent it to me. I don't eat black licorice. I don't eat it at all. And so I was like, I don't eat black licorice. I just don't. And let me tell you what, I am now a black licorice lover as long as it's made from this amazing candy company. The Chocolate Art Gallery, guys, run over there and like her page, please. She did give us some incredible giveaways, some awesome giveaways for today. And remember, how did people win? How did people get entered to win? They had to do a random act of kindness, and they needed to like her page. It was that simple. And they were entered to win. Why is this important? One, we need to support our local businesses and our community leaders. We got to love them through this experience, right? And there are so many people out there in their homes making magic. And I get to share that with you guys. It's so super important. What do your likes do? Why is it so important? Why do people always drive likes? Because when you like someone's page, their numbers go up. That is very helpful when it comes to selling your product and getting your product known. So we have the magic today to share some of just a second with this amazing company. And all you got to do is run over, like her page. Hey, Sherry, I miss you too. Sorry, you're going to miss the morning show. The Chocolate Art Gallery is where you want to head here on Facebook. Incredible company. Delicious treats. And I'm not going to lie. I like black licorice. Crazy enough, but I love black licorice now. It's delicious. I thought I would never eat that. So welcome in this morning, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Gotta know what's in your mug. What you drinking today, guys? What's in your mug, y'all? What's in your mug? Jumping on this morning, seeing how you guys are doing. Gonna talk about being respectful in cemeteries, what cemeteries are, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and talk to you a little bit about doing grave rubbings, something that I went and did yesterday. You love black licorice. Marcy, seriously, I didn't know that. Ugh. I can say ugh, but like this stuff is amazing, but any other black licorice, I have just never. No. Diet Coke, water, coffee. Coffee with creamer. All the delicious things in the cups this morning. The coffee Yeah, iced coffee today. Yum. I think I'm definitely gonna get an iced coffee today myself. Water, apple cider vinegar, boom shakalaka. That's great to use. So, am I the only one that was ever raised going to the graveyard? I know, Sherry, but it's nasty. It was nasty, and now it's delicious. Anybody else grow up um, going and visiting grave sites, graveyards? It's really interesting. My mom started me really early going to graveyards. 5 or 6 years old, I remember playing in the graveyards. And I tell you, like, it was my park. Honestly, we went to the graveyards all the time. My mom loved to take photography of gravestones. And so I just remember always going to the graveyard with my mom, and she'd take her camera and she'd shoot pictures. And we'd spend all day. And I remember her one time telling me, Sarah, most people don't do this. And I was like, I don't understand, Mom. She's like, most people don't spend a lot of time in graveyards. It's just something that it was really interesting. It was just something that we did. We didn't have family that were buried there. We just went to take photography or walk amongst others. And my mom was always very respectful. We always were very quiet. I would love to see your face, but something is going on. I grew up visiting graveyards and did genealogy and did rubbings. Yes, we walked through it for school. Really? For school, you guys went to it? Wow. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. So I'm not the only one that spent some time in the good old graveyards. Um, yeah. So it's interesting. Like I said, I grew up, I just grew up always going to the graveyards. Always, that was interesting. That was really interesting. The light really changed in my room. That was really crazy. I've done rubbings and loved old headstones, cleaning the graveyard. I find the history wonderful. So do I. Like, for me, it's always been about the history. It's always about learning about other people's lives, but also honoring. So it's interesting when you walk up. When you walk up to a gravestone, it's really interesting because you're presented with a timeline. You're presented with a person's name, and you're presented with a timeline. And this is the date of birth, and this is my date of death, and this is the time that I was on this planet. And as I was sitting, I'll share some pictures with you guys from a humongous cemetery I spent time in New York. The New York area was amazing. Yes, New Orleans has some incredible cemeteries that I absolutely love. You do have to pay to go into them because most of them are walled in New Orleans. But and of course they bury their dead a bit different in New Orleans still today. Bury their dead different. Of course, because we don't want, good morning, everybody. We don't want people floating amongst us. And that's why they don't put them under the ground anymore. I think stones with people, old pictures with them are neat. Yeah, that's my route coverage. I'm going to old cemeteries, seeing the history. I love the history too. So what we did yesterday is Marcy Googled, I asked Marcy to do a few things for me because I was working all day, and she jumped on and found a listing of all the cemeteries in the area. Now, so that we can go to each one and we can mark them off. And so we started in an area close to home, and actually it's my favorite cemetery. It's the cemetery that I'm called to, and it's really interesting. I don't know if you guys are ever called to cemeteries either. So you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you see the cemetery sign, and I get excited because it's a new cemetery I've never been to. It's a place that I can honor people and I can love them, and I can share in just a few minutes by looking at their stone and their date of birth and their date of death, share in their memories and allow them to be remembered once again. which I think is very, very important. It is very important to remember to be in the story of those that walked before us. These are our ancestors. And I do think that there is much power in ancestral work. Karmatically, there is a lot of power in ancestral work. So this is really important to know too. So when you're going out and you're being with those that have walked before us, that have carried our own names and things like that are super, super, super important. And so I always have a few rules when going to a grave, graves to cemeteries. Always leave it better than you found it. If you're going to do rubbings, if you're going to go out to a graveyard, bring a little dustpan and a little broom. And you can sweep off people's gravestones really quickly. So like I said, like if I'm going out there, I might as well leave it better than I found it. If there's trash, I'll throw it away. I'm very respectful of other people when they are there. So when I'm at the cemetery, I'm very respectful. I watch where I step. That was a big thing, watching where we step. Wonderful. So watching where you step, being honoring to them, saying hello. Yesterday there was a lot of Larrys. And so I just noticed, oh, look, there's another Larry. Hi, Larry. And just honoring as I go and visiting their stories and visiting them, whoever they are, and honoring them. And I think it's so beautiful. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong by doing a headstone rubbing. Some people might suggest that that's disrespectful. I don't suggest it's disrespectful whatsoever. And let me tell you why. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Oh, geez, guys. Thank you. I really need to hear that this morning. So why do I think that grave rubbings are important? Because if you want to share in the beauty that was once laid there, okay, date of death, got that. So some of the rubbings that you do are because you cannot see what used to be on the gravestone. And so it's almost like magic. You're placing this beautiful white paper on this memory. Someone chose these symbols, and each one of the symbols actually have a meaning. And we did a lot of that yesterday. Was after we did our rubbings, we actually went and found out what some of these things actually mean and what it means to have different things laid or laid upon the stone. I'm going to say that. So here's a curtain. And this one meant experience between life and death. So and we thought it was like the last curtain call. Like we would look at them and we would think, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean that's on this person's gravestone? What does it mean? And they all have different meanings, which I love because I do believe in signs, symbols, and omens. So I do believe that when we go out and we see this artwork, we should honor the meanings behind what was placed on these old, beautiful stones. It takes a lot of talent to make those stones, and there was a lot of thought put into them. Yes, and so I want to honor that. Someone really spent some time in their grievance deciding how they wanted to honor their loved ones. We found out about ivy, what ivy means. We found out here's another one, what it means when things are crossed. So if you see plants that are crossed, if you see wheat crossed, they all mean different things. Ivy, they all mean beautiful, different things. Hi, guys. Welcome in today to Mystic Mornings with Sarah Lemos. We're talking about the paranormal today. Wednesdays are all about paranormal, my paranormal stories, and things that we're doing. We're going to continue to do this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the headstones and their meanings because I think it's really interesting. There's one flower that Marcy and I were like really trying to find because it's supposed to have 10 separate petals, and I could find them with 9 petals, but I could not find it with 10 petals. And so I'm hoping, I know this sounds silly, it is, it's like language from the past. And so as I'm counting, I'm literally counting the petals because I'm like, Marcy, this one has 9. So is it the same flower? Because it really does matter. So of course, the anchor, to me, I thought it meant home, family, anchored to family and home. Usually it signifies actually the Christian faith, which I thought was interesting. Angels pointing, angels praying, they all mean different things. I will share with you guys where I found this, or where my dear friend Marcy found this, and I'll share it with you guys so that you have it. There we go. Never mind. Somebody just did. And so you can actually look up all the different, what an arrow means, if there's an arrow on it. But what was really fun is going out and capturing these. So once we had them, it was kind of neat to say, well, wait a second, that means this woman died beautiful. So like a rose, a bent rose or broken rose means love taken too soon, a female beauty that was taken too soon. But it was just kind of neat because their stories, maybe not in letters, because I'm sure that was really difficult to carve in and make these incredible headstones, gravestones, what have you, crypts, what have you. So they put things in simple form so that you could understand what they were trying to say. And so we just went out and we really had a really good time just capturing just different headstones, trying to find out the meanings, and really taking time to be with those people in their story, to be with these beautiful, beautiful people that once were here with us, that walked here in 1812. Just different stones. 2 laying cows. That was something we didn't look up, right, Marcy? Oh, they're lambs. Thank you. Okay, so never mind. We figured it out. But each thing represents something, and so it's fun. You can go on your own chase of the history, and then look up these symbols, which I've always spoken, because you guys know I teach a very different way, and I talk about symbology all the time, and how if you have the symbols you need, you can communicate. If you have the symbols you need, you can speak to your loved ones on the other side. If you have the symbols you need, you can get the information you need from your guides, from your angels. So here, how cool is it that we have signs and symbols right in front of us, but we don't take the time to educate ourselves on what they actually mean. Now, I have been very blessed to be able to travel the world with Ghost Hunter Cruises with Sherry Berman. One of the places we went to was Scotland. And in Scotland, there was these mass cemeteries with stones bigger than me, angels the size of me. And so, yeah, and it is cool. We had no idea that that's what we were going to find out, that we were going to go out and see these beautiful stones. And then I started asking questions. And I would say, Marcy, wait, what does this mean? It's got to mean something. And so we just stopped what we were doing. Marcy looked it up. And before you know it, we were on this absolute treasure adventure, if you will, finding out different information on these different stones. So in Scotland, in Ireland, you'll notice that they're, very Catholic. There's a lot of Catholic religion. But I'll tell you, some of these cemeteries were unbelievable. I will try to find some of my photos and share them with you guys. They're from a long time ago. But so much fun, so exciting, so amazing. So, of course, again, if you head out, good morning. Here's the thing. If you go out and you do this work, I did post a video here in the page. You guys can watch the video on how I do it. Marcy tried a whole bunch of other ways that she was certified onto YouTube to do. And I was like, no, I remember when we were kids, we did this a certain way. And really what you do is I take computer paper, just a simple sheet of computer paper. I rip open a crayon and you just start rubbing. You just rub the heck out of it. And of course, be very careful not to leave any wax behind. Not that I need to say this to you guys because you guys are freaking amazing, but I want to make sure that we don't disrespect or dishonor anybody while we're doing this. And again, from where I stand, what I'm telling you guys is I don't feel it is. I feel we are going to the cemetery. We are leaving it better than it was, and we're sharing in their story. Oh, pre-rip the paper before you get to the cemetery. I suggest that too. Cut the paper off of your crayons before going to the cemetery. One of the things that I wanted to do was ask the spirit, ask the stone, what color would you like me to represent? What would you like me to represent? And so I would walk up to this, and if I heard, black, then I used black, and then if I heard use red now, I would use red. And so I just kind of listened. Again, whatever I was called to use in that situation is the colors that I chose to use. But for this one, it was interesting because they just wanted me to keep adding colors. They just were like, more colors. It was kind of great. It is a little bit scary when you get out there and all you see is your name. I don't know how many times I saw Sarah. I must have had a very popular name out here in our area because everybody's name is Sarah. Guys, and Teresa, I appreciate you posting that. If you guys want to get a kit online, you can, but I'm telling you, you don't need to. You don't need to research somebody else's way of doing something. You can ask yourself what feels right to me and then move forward in that. Again, I don't know if anything I just said is in a book because I let spirit guide me. I let spirit bring me to my pathway. I honored my pathway. And then as I moved on my path and was answered and given, I followed what I received, and I did it in a respectful way. Researching the names is kind of fun too. We did also do that. We found out about a few people that we wanted to know about while we were out there too. And again, it's a place of remembrance. Yeah, but there was no Marcy's out there. There was no Marcy's whatsoever. So again, I grew up in cemeteries. This is something that it was so normal for me to walk through a cemetery with my mother on a weekend or sit and lay in the cemetery while she took photos. I would chase the squirrels and just spend a lot of time out there. Now, one question that I get all the time, or I hear people talk about, hey, Sarah, so I was walking and I walked through a cemetery, and all of a sudden I had this spirit stick to me and they wouldn't let me go. Okay. Interesting. I had another person say, when I have to be really careful when I drive by cemeteries, because when I drive by cemeteries, I feel like I get a Klingon, like a spirit comes home with me. See, I don't get that. Yes, and that's true, Jason. You can check, but it will be stated if they don't want you touching the gravestones. So again, guys, if someone doesn't stop you, or if it's not stated, you can do it. So again, doing it respectfully and doing it kindly is great. So, but I always heard people talk about, well, I walked through cemeteries and I get these Klingons, and it's like, do you guys really believe that your loved ones hang out in cemeteries? Can I get a yes or a no on that? Do you actually believe that during the day when nobody's there, that a whole bunch of spirits are hanging out next to their dead bodies? I think I agree. One of the most comfortable places is a cemetery. But I have to ask you, do you guys really believe that there's all these people hanging out in the cemetery because that is where their body is? No. But for some reason, I don't know how many paracons I've been to, and somebody will be like, well, there was this one time I was walking next to a cemetery, and all of a sudden it's like, that confuses me when a story starts like that, because I don't necessarily agree that, actually I don't agree at all. Do I believe that they come to us when we are at the cemetery? Yes. Yes, because it is a intention. And an intention, your intention is when you bury someone there. And your intention is, this is my place where I will come and I will sit with you and I will love you and I will have a memory of you. I will sit here. I will bring you flowers. I will bring you your favorite candy. Right? So it's an intention. It's a place. It's a statement. It is, I come here to honor you. That is our connection agreement. So when you go there, do they visit? Absolutely. So if you go to visit and this is your place to connect with your father, brother, sister, grandfather, grandmother, best friend, that is them coming to you and saying, yes, I agree with you. I concur. This is where I will meet you if this is where you need me to meet you. Sure, if this makes it clear enough for you, I will meet you here because I still want to visit and see you. So they will meet you there. They honor you there, right? Yes, and I will tell you, absolutely, that when we have emotions in a graveyard, sadness, loss, fear, confusion, should I sell the house? Did you want me to sell the boat? There's a lot there. So when you're walking through a cemetery, yes, most of the time what you are picking up as an empath is the sensation of the sadness that lingers, but only the sadness that lingers from the humans that have walked on the property. If you were to pick up your own stone, what would you want it? What would it, and why? Lisa. So I'm going to tell you, when I was in New York filming an episode of Portals to Hell, someone at the gravesite had the biggest piece of rose quartz you have ever seen, a raw piece of rose quartz. And it was beautiful and powerful. The amount of love in that stone was pure magic. It was huge. I'll share a picture with you guys here. It was crazy. It was as big as a car almost. Okay, maybe not that big. Maybe just as big as like a love seat, but it was huge. That's what I would choose because I would want everybody to come and sit on the rose quartz and vibrate to the frequency of love. Yes, that's what I would choose. Absolutely. Rose quartz. And I would suggest that, I was talking about that with Marcy yesterday, is the idea of, do I want to be buried or do I want to be cremated? And I've always wanted to be cremated. So for me, my personal choice would be cremation. And if I could be planted under a tree, that is awesome. But it's really not about me. It's about my family. Because honestly, guys, I'm really clear with what happens. I really don't have any question about what happens. And so I don't need to be in full body form to be laid to rest. And of course, a lot of people are laid in full body form because of their religious beliefs. And again, that's what you'll find a lot on the headstones, is actually symbols of belief and symbols of their life that is created. So it's their creation of their life and their death. But again, for me, it's really not about me. It's about my kids. It's about what their intention for speaking with me would be. So I would like a large altar. I would like it to be as big as the largest building here in Salem, Oregon. I would like it to have disco lights and flash and lots of music. But I don't know what my kids would want. But I think it's important that we talk about death. This is something that does really hold true to my heart, is that we need to speak about death. We need to speak about the process of death, and we need to be okay with cemeteries and with stories and allowing ourselves to be a part of someone's story without letting the pain harm us. Because when we allow the pain of someone's story to harm us, really that's selfish. And so getting to a place where we can allow the love in, and we can remember in a place of joy. Absolutely, Kim. It's really about their process of loss. Yeah, because I'm going to be out. I'm going to be flying around. I'm going to be. So, yep, river. I love that. I think it's really interesting because, again, those of us that are okay with going to cemeteries, I would suggest to you that, interesting. There's a lot of cemeteries people have near them. That'd be interesting. I just think it's important, but it's what is your relationships with cemeteries? If you're okay with cemeteries, there's a good chance you're okay with death. If cemeteries bother you, they give you the EBGBs, there's something about them, just a bunch of dead people, you probably haven't processed your fear of death. Your reading helped me so much because I know my parents' story did not end the way I thought. There you go. I think that's, and again, it is this idea, oh yeah, the Viking funerals were really awesome. You're right. I don't like to go to my dad's grave, but I visit him in his workshop at the house. Love that. And again, it's your connection to that death. Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. I'm okay with death too. I'm not okay when people die. Okay, let me be real with you. I don't get excited. Like I'm like, oh, high five. No, of course, there is a process. I didn't understand that until I lost my husband. I got through it by talking about death and visiting the cemetery. Absolutely. And so you listened to your path. You didn't let somebody create your path, but you decided. When I was a kid, I used to make my mom drive us through the cemetery. See, and for some of us, we have this want. We're like, what is that? What is it about the cemetery? Tell me about the magic. I remember when I finally was completely okay with being a medium. And I used to do these really crazy things with my kids. And again, they were raised in cemeteries too, but I would have them listen to the gravestones. So yes, being my child, you got to go to the graveyards and you got to listen to the gravestones. So my kids, I got to have them on one morning and share in the magic of me being their mother and the things that we did. But it is one thing to do is to allow and to listen when you're out there. And again, taking something out with you to clean off a few of them. Marcy brought out some rags. Marcy's constantly cleaning the headstones as I'm running around screaming, 1855, 1812. As we run around, we have a lot of pioneer cemeteries here in Salem and the local areas. We probably have hundreds. They aren't all marked. So if you go out to find them, please be careful. Also, don't run and don't trip. Does it matter? Cemetery is a buried after death opinion. I find it peaceful. I have told my daughter that if I pass, light a candle with my picture and I will be with you. Ooh, I love that. I love that. It's the energy of the ritual of the burial. I believe that it draws some of us to the space. Oh, I think that's true, Jenny. It is the burial. I think it is the idea that it's one place in our lives that we still have some tradition. Some tradition. I completely agree with you. It's a place where we have some sort of tradition. Ritual, if you will. Absolutely. I used to ride my horses through the cemetery. See, and again, it creates connection. Doesn't it feel good when we're not scared anymore? Can I get a thumbs up? Just to not be scared of one thing. Can I get a thumbs up? I agree with you, Colleen, completely. But can I get a thumbs up when you're not scared anymore? Many of us as little kids were terrified of death. Very terrified, especially if you were a medium. If you're a psychic medium, if you have these gifts, there is a true fear of death, a true understanding at a very early age of death. And when you start letting go of one fear, by just letting it be somewhat normal for you, letting it not be so faux pas to go to a cemetery. And maybe you don't agree with the ritual of burial. Maybe you think it's silly. Maybe you know the actual reasoning that why people are buried. They're buried so that they can be resurrected. They're buried in full body form so that they can be resurrected again when Christ returns. So there's ritual to all of that. There's ritualistic to everything. But what happens when we're no longer scared of death? Now, should we have a healthy fear? Yes. Do I want everybody to get crazy and be like, death? Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. No, that's not what I'm asking for. But to find some comfort or understanding where we're not in a fear-based place around something that is, don't mean to freak y'all out, gonna happen. You're all gonna die. And that is the creepiest thing in the world to say. And by no means am I shooting that energy out that I hope it happens to you. But the reality is that's what's happening. So I want to bring peace to the idea of death by answering questions to anyone who has questions on death and dying, to relate so that you have an understanding, a balancing point when it comes to death. I think that's important. And one way we can start is understanding symbols, connections to rituals, understanding the old ways, and really, again, spending time in these places, but leaving them better than we found them. Extremely important. So again, guys, you're listening to Mystic Mornings. You're hanging out with me here at Mystic Mornings. It is now 10:30. Death is amazing. There is something pretty amazing about death. That place of quiet, that place of connection, that place of vastness. I grew up visiting our family grave since I was a kid. It was a real gift to be told it's just like visiting our living family. I was never fearful. It was never fearful to us. And I think that's important. Understanding that there is a process of death and dying. That's reality. That's reality. Death is a big thing to my household. Ask my 8-year-old. Yes. Nope. I'm not really when it is time. Mainly I'm at peace with it and not afraid at all. Right. And I think too is that it's as we have an understanding of the process of death, the fear can let us go. But how can we be educated in death? You can't. You can take a death and dying class. You can be certified as a hospice nurse. There are things where you can study death, but we will not know until we process it ourselves. Now, as a medium, I've helped thousands of people communicate with their loved ones on the other side. And so my understanding is a bit different just because I have seen and witnessed trillions, I don't know how many deaths at this point. And so I think I have a better understanding of it. And so I just want to share. I just want to share with you guys. And so this is one way. Holy heck, your guys' pictures that you guys were sharing on Facebook and these ghostly encounters, I'm so excited to chew on that next Wednesday. So next Wednesday, I will be talking about your guys' pictures, your guys' posts here in the Medium Sarah Lemos page. I'm no joke. I am so stoked to go through every one of those pictures and talk about what I think and share some of them with you guys next Wednesday. Super important. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep. Yes. And that's okay. And it's okay to have different attachments to death. And it's okay to have space. For me, and again, that's the more open you are, the more we have this opportunity, the more we're open, the more we have the opportunity to heal, learn, and grow. Remember, our fears lock doors. Our fears shut hallways. Our fears try to block and dam rivers, and just to slow you down, because that's what fear does. Now, sometimes we need fear, so don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying all the time. Now, you guys, no joke, next Monday's giveaway. I have been so excited about this. I'm so excited. We received some delicious soap, some delicious, beautiful soap from Rustic Bubbles. And are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I will be telling you all about this amazing product, this magic mystical product coming up, and how you can win it. So, do you want to know who wore the caramels and the licorice? What did they have to do? All they had to do was go over and like her page, share her page, and do a random act of kindness. That's it. That's all you had to do. For the one that I'm giving away right now, delicious candy. And if you win, guys, I want to tell you, John, you won the 20-minute mentoring session, so you need to contact me for that. I will be mailing out everybody's products today. And so make sure that you play along. These are fun. These are gifts. These are giveaways. All you had to do was one random act of kindness. I should have had 62 people doing random act of kindness. That's what I think. 62 people liking her page. 62 people doing random acts of kindness. That's what I'm thinking to win this delicious, delicious caramel. And Colleen, you are the winner, sweetheart. So Colleen, I need you to send me your address and I'll send you mine. Congratulations, Colleen. Colleen did a random act of kindness. She was tipping people. She was loving people. She was giving money to people that didn't have money. It was pretty great. So you can read what Colleen did in the last post. But Colleen, you just got the best candy. And I'm telling you, this is what I want you guys to do. And do me a big favor. I want you to take a picture with your product. I'm smelling out 3 different products today. Take a picture with it. Put it here. Jason, you won the 20 minutes of mentoring, so send me a message. Colleen, you won. I'm going to be mailing all that out. We are getting products in all the time, guys. If you have something that you want to share with our tribe, please do so. We want to support you. We want to support you. We want to love you. And so we're going to be doing that Monday with this magic soap. Are you kidding me right now? Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And so if there's something that you make, if there's something you want to share, no matter what it is, we want to share it with you. I will tell you all my experiences. And I want you to share your experiences with me. So when you open up your beautiful packages, take pictures, post them here, and tell me how they feel, if you liked them, if you're excited. The group wants to know. So Barbara Adams is actually who made this amazing soap. She's an incredible woman who was born, raised in her entire life here in Salem, Oregon. And she's been making homemade cold press soaps for over 5 years now. Of course, during this time, her business has been hit pretty hard. So I will be sharing tons of information on how you can support this amazing woman who has been making cold press soaps for over 5 years. We can help a little bit, guys. We can help a little bit. And again, it's going to be really, really important that you do the random act of kindness. So you have to do whatever the have to do's are to get your name in for Monday. Again, we'll be back here at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, kicking it, talking about opening ourselves to possibilities again. I think this is really important, and talking about making healthy lifestyle choices, and also sharing all kinds of great ideas for growth and learning on Mondays. Wednesdays, we kick it back over to paranormal. On Wednesdays, that's what we're going to be hitting, is more paranormal adventures. Heading out again this weekend, we're going to find some paranormal fun for you, film it up, throw it on here, and then discuss it with you guys on Wednesday. I'm taking you to a local haunted area in Salem, Oregon, and telling you some stories about the area and what I have found there through the years. And then we'll discuss it a little bit on the morning show. Could be a lot of fun. And then maybe you guys can share with me some of your local areas where you hunt. I know there's so many from us from around the world. Why not share these incredible places? So as we finish out this morning, guys, I want to definitely share one of my spooky stories with you. One of my stories, one of my paranormal investigation stories. And I'm actually going to share one from one of the TV shows that I was blessed to be on. So here we go. Are you ready? gosh, I want to share so many. They all come flooding in. I panic because I'm like, oh, wait, what about this one? Oh, wait about this one. Oh, wait about this one. I'm actually going to talk about the soldier. And the soldier is some of the most people, a lot of people's favorite. And I think it's because the soldier had a story. I believe it's episode number 5 on Ghosts of Morgan City, and my own personal story. Okay, so there's what you see when it's being filmed, and then there's my personal story of what happened while I was on the property itself. Now, for many of you, you saw the soldier and you saw how it was affected on screen. But what you may not have known is how I was affected the entire day being on the property. Each episode is 1 week of filming. So each episode that you watch takes 1 week of 15 hours of filming every day. So that's how it's created. And, okay. And so I want to share a little bit about what I experienced walking through the fields. Now, what I'll share with you is when we walked through the sugarcane fields in Louisiana, we were brought out there by this amazing man who had held many places in government in Louisiana, okay? And he had the sweetest, most kindest, I had the best connection with him. The minute I met him, I reached out, I shook his hand, and we started to walk. And he started to tell me about this story about when he had his grandpa out on the property, and he used to tell him about, this is where the soldiers were tossed after the battle. Now, all these soldiers were buried in a large grave site. I was very emotionally disturbed by this. If you want to see me messed up, in that episode, you see me messed up a lot because I could not handle, they could not get me to stop crying because these bodies were literally tossed into a large hole. And you could still see on the property line when you watched these fields, there's an indentation in the field. The indentation is still there from where the bodies were laid or, dumped. This was a massive concern of mine as I went out onto the property. He pulled me into the fields. We were told, watch for snakes. And we walked through the fields. The minute my foot hit the soil, I could do nothing but feel. All of a sudden, the soldiers started just poking their heads up out of the sugarcane. I could see them everywhere. Messy hair, dirty, young, old, poking their head out over the sugarcane. They were everywhere. It was so moving to be somewhere where there were so many spirits that were willing to tell their story. See, do I think that they were stuck, hundreds of humans stuck in a sugarcane field? No, I don't think that there was hundreds stuck there. But what I will tell you is that energy that was pulsing from that ground definitely had intention. It had a story. Do I feel like there was still some soldiers there that were lost and worried? Yeah, I do. So I did what I needed to do to move those spirits on. There was many stories about this location. And there was many stories about the house where this soldier was. Sometimes those earthbound spirits can be very strong. And in this situation, it was strong because I will tell you, I fell down a flight of stairs. We heard sounds throughout that entire house. We experienced a lot of physical emotion. Catch me here. What did I just say? Physical emotion. And that is what I'm gonna call it. Physical emotion. Because this spirit used physical emotion to kick me in the back of my leg, and my knee went out. And for me, this is a moment, a true moment, when you know that you are not alone. You were just kicked. I was kicked in the back of my leg. It wasn't soft. It was, I am here and I want my story told. And of course, part of this story was that he didn't have a leg, that his leg was taken. That was part of this story. And so he was communicating. But what I thought was more beautiful throughout the entire process, and yes, I was scared on this one. Was I scared? Yes, I was scared. Was I nerved? Yes, I was nerved. I had been kicked in the back of my leg and no one was there. I'm used to talking to spirits that want to talk. Husbands, wives, they want to talk. I connect you, you guys communicate, it's beautiful. This earthbound spirit wanted to tell its story, but he wanted me to be a part of his story. Thank goodness he then met KD, who is, of course, a part of our team. He is our tech, he is magical, and he also has had some time in war. And so these two befriended, as you saw on the show, and the energy shifted. It wasn't really about I had to be force-fed his story anymore. Now it was more like he was just simply sitting with a friend sharing his story. How interesting. I don't know. I can tell you that these stories mean more than I can tell you. And for some of you, it might be boring to listen to, but honestly, this is what my life is. And there's something to be said about our connection to the dead. So my stories will always be different because, well, I've been a few places. And next Wednesday, I'll probably talk about my experiences in Jamaica, which was quite intriguing. Or maybe we'll talk about what happened in Alaska. But no matter what, the thing about it is that we're just talking about something that is going to happen. We're finding a place of peace with death. Sometimes when you understand, you can let your guard down a little. You can let the pain stop. And your thoughts of trying to figure something out don't have to race as much as they usually do. You could see the shift in the episode. You could absolutely see the shift in the episode. And you could absolutely feel the shift. I didn't feel attacked anymore. I felt a part of the story. But if you dumped me in a field, or I couldn't get back to my mother, if every moment of my existence was pain and suffering by being shot at, I can understand where there's confusion. I can understand why there's pain and suffering. I can understand why he wanted me to know it's not fair. I just wanted to go home. Yeah. So can I handle a kick to the back of the knee to be able to hear somebody else's story? To be able to share in somebody else's story? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if the story is written on their gravestone, if their story is written in their name or in the date of birth or in their date of death, I'm okay remembering. I'm okay holding that space. I'm okay being a little bit different, hanging out in cemeteries. I know. I think it's so important that we have the traditions and we have the stories because these stories keep these people alive. We are 3 generations away from being forgotten. 3 generations. So remember to tell the stories of your friends and your family that have walked to the other side before us. And remember to stay strong as you question these crazy things that go bump in the night. And whatever brings you here this morning, thank you for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. It is now 10:47. Do you know what that means? No, you don't. But it means we're pulling a card. Here we go. This is our card for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you're enjoying the morning show. If you're enjoying the morning show, please invite your friends. Please invite your friends to the show. And also, if you want to share the show, it is on YouTube. So I am filming currently in 2 locations. That means you can share these with your friends and family. Send them to my YouTube channel. They are here. They are here for you to share. If you know somebody that's also out there that enjoys this stuff, have them come over and hang out with us. Let's just share the love. We're here to learn. We're here to teach. We're here to do this stuff. So here we go. This is our card for the day. Bum, bum, bum. The card of the day. Boy, they're being Pacific. They're being Pacific. Surrender. Our card today is surrender. Of course, this is out of my James Van Praagh, The Soul Journey. Surrender, surrender, surrender. So this is really interesting because I think we're in a phase right now. This isn't about action. This is about not being in action. Surrendering is saying there's nothing left for me to think about here. There's nothing left for me to do physically here. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to surrender. When we surrender, when we let ourselves go, when we let ourselves simply be, there's magic there. Surrender to a situation. Don't bow down to a situation. Don't say, yes, 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 of course. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I bow down to you. No. Surrender doesn't mean sit on your ass and do nothing. Surrender says, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. So I'm not just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. I'm going to surrender. And I'm going to listen. And then I'll surrender in action. So surrendering sometimes is this idea that it has to be perfect. It has to be just so in order for me to do it, right? I have to surrender and say, maybe it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can surrender to that. I can surrender to it doesn't have to be A, B, Z. I don't have to do all these things in order to make this happen. Sometimes by simply surrendering, the door opens for you. But unless you're willing to stop controlling and controlling every piece of everything so it works out just so, because I know that's how other people do it, and so that's how it needs to be done. Nope. If you surrender, put the oars down, float for a while, see what direction you float, and then surrender in your actions. You don't have to be perfect. Surrender. And a lot of times surrender to me means educate. I don't believe in not being, it's a huge struggle for a lot of people, because if I control it, I'm gonna take you down a rabbit hole finish today. Here's the thing I want more than anything, right? Here it is in my hand. You are being personally attacked, Amy. Anytime I see you on here, I personally attack you. Okay. So this is what I want. Here it is, right? This is what I want. I want it so bad, right? And so I want this person to find me. I want this, I want to create this in my life. I want all these things. I want. And then we ask, well, how do you get? Many of us, we never got as children. So we don't know how to get as adults. I didn't get got when I was a kid. So how am I going to get as an adult? I wasn't taught I didn't get things. I didn't get things. And so now how do I get things? And a lot of times it is in the idea of surrender. How do I make it happen? How do I control this so it doesn't hurt? How do I control this so people like me? How do I control? How do I fix? How do I make sure it polished it up just right and was just right so that I can be accepted? And the reality is, if you accept yourself, you will not be trying to control any situations, because you're going to be in a place of surrender to allow it to happen. Where we get stuck? Where do we get stuck? We get stuck in the idea that if I do it perfect, it will come out perfect. And then I'm perfect. So then I deserve whatever I truly wanted. Let's skip it all, shall we? You deserve what you want right now, and you don't have to be perfect to get it. You just have to reach for it and surrender. Now, Amy and I are just teasing each other, but I always do attack several people on here because we're close. We're all growing. But I mean, just so you know, Amy and I are best friends. There's nothing here that's save your breath on those who are vibrationally ready to hear the experience, the gift that is you. Yeah, that is Colleen. That's it. Yeah, and Colleen, that's great. It's good advice from Amy. And I would say that again. Save your breath for those that are vibrationally ready to hear the experience and experience the gift that is you. That is beautiful. But truly, it's the idea of if you can control it, then you're going to be safe. And I know that's where control comes from, is finding safety. I always feel guilty. If I'm not there for anyone else and do what they want me to do, I feel guilty. No, sweetheart, I think the truth is, Denise, I don't know that guilt is what you're feeling. What you're trying to get is love. So you're like, I'll work for my love. And then when that love isn't there in the way that you were hoping, you feel guilty because you're actually not receiving what you need. I hope that makes sense. Yes, you are, Shelley. I do attack the ones I love the most. Yes, I only attack from a place of love. And it's Amy, who we're doing a podcast together after this. So she'll give me shit then, I suppose. So guys, go out today, make it awesome. Hang out with me on Monday, will ya? If you have won something, contact me. I need your addresses today so that we can get your treats out to you. And then look for the new giveaway. The new giveaway is going to be this beautiful soap. So look for that giveaway here on the page, guys, because you've been listening to Mystic Mornings, guys. You've been kicking it with Mystic Mornings here in the group, here with the tribe. And, I just